So, of course, this news broke the day after last week's episode came out. Because for the sake of my blood pressure, the national news media wanted to make sure I'd have several days to stew over it before I had to come on and talk to you guys. Now, we've talked about Scott Lloyd on this segment before. He's the jackass theocrat that Trump installed as the head of the Office of Refugee Resettlement, despite having an all but aggressive lack of qualifications. What qualifications he did have were things like being a vociferous activist against abortion and contraception and not loving Jesus. And when his name came up last time, it was in conjunction with a young refugee that was pregnant as a result of rape. She came to the U.S., had the money to get an abortion, had the means to get herself back and forth from the clinic, and jumped through all the ridiculous hoops conservatives have placed between women and their own bodies. But still, the ORR denied her the abortion, even though they had no legal right to do so, and had to basically imprison her to keep it from happening. Well, the ACLU took care of that one, and a class action suit by 18 other young women showed us that this was a long way from an isolated incident. But the latest chapter of this story broke Friday night on the Rachel Maddow Show. See, thanks to a FOIA request by a government watchdog agency, the ORR just had released all the documentations they were keeping on these girls. After all, if you're on a mission from God to stop girls from getting abortions, you have to know if they're pregnant and stuff, right? So how was the ORR tracking that kind of stuff? Well, it turns out it's through a dystopian spreadsheet so vile, Margaret Atwood asked to be buried alive just so she could roll over in her grave. They released a 28-page document that tracked the menstrual cycles of girls between the ages of 12 and 17. That was somebody's job, or as the spreadsheet indicates, several people's job. The document also contains information like whether they were pregnant, the date of their last menstrual cycle, or as they spell it, menstrual, whether the pregnancy was the result of consensual sex, and whether they'd expressed an interest in getting an abortion. And as disturbing as this information is, it's far more disturbing when you remind yourself the purpose it was meant to serve. Scott Lloyd wanted to make sure he could delay abortion requests until an abortion would no longer be legal. And that's not just my take on things. That's what the damn judge found after they had heard the case. And as fucked up as this document is to see, in a strange way, it's actually kind of comforting. Because I've said for years that all it would take to galvanize the majority of the side of legal abortion would be seeing a world without it. And this is what you fucking get. You get medical decisions for underage girls being made by a group of people who literally can't spell menstrual. And on that hastily applied silver lining, I'll hand things back over to Noah, Heath, and Eli.